Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. In today's video, we are going to be talking about SoFi, Robinhood, Block, etc. Okay. There was a potential for SoFi, or sorry, not for SoFi, for Robinhood to get into the S&P 500 today because Chevron acquired Hess Corporation, okay, another energy business. This ended up opening up a slot for Robinhood to end up getting in, and they ended up missing out. Now, if you heard the names that I listed in companies that I wanted to talk about, you would have heard Block, Jack Dorsey's company that combines the two businesses of Square Terminals or Square Sellers and Cash App, the peer-to-peer payment system that some people fancy in different parts of America. Now, I've been a Block shareholder. I was a fan. You can find videos on this YouTube channel of me being very positive of Block. However, that has not been the same case as of recently. Partially, we'll talk about some of the reasons why, but essentially, the main part of the story is that Robinhood did not end up getting into the S&P 500. Instead, it was another fintech, which I was quite heated about, that ended up getting in. A fintech that is in the payment space in two different verticals, both merchant side and peer-to-peer, okay? They got in with worse financials on almost every single metric, the growth rates, the margins, everything. They got in on the same day that the Genius Act law got passed today. And then that just shows you that, there's going to be a ton of payment innovation coming. They got in on the same day. Well, sorry, not on the same day, but they got in. And in the last four quarters, Q2 of 2024, Q3 of 2024, Q4 of 2024, and Q1 of 2025, all missing their guidance, okay? Even guidances that Block themselves had ended up putting out. And most recently, you can see just how much they've been missing on EPS, falling further and further down. And in fact, guidance now is even lower than where it was in Q1 of 2025. This is because everyone talks about Block and how they are a Bitcoin business and everything along these lines. And they're not just that, but they definitely do play a part in crypto. They play a part in acquiring crypto for their own treasury. All of these things are not bringing the stock or profitability any higher, even though, Bitcoin year to date is up 25%. I don't know what it is over the last year, but it is much higher than that. But I don't want to get it wrong. Let me just take a quick look-see here. But this is not the business that whenever I think, Bitcoin's up 84%, and yet Block continues to miss on revenues. They're a place where people go to buy Bitcoin. They're a place where they're trying to make Bitcoin mining systems, like the chips that actually facilitate the mining. They have BitKeys, which is a self-storage device. They have all these different products that go directly with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up 84%. And Block is going nowhere. So people say that Hood is next, but I don't know why that's the case. If it was sector related and there was another company like AppLovin that got in, some sort of ad tech or something like this, that to help diversify, I completely understand. Block is in the exact same industry, fintech, new business, everything like this, and yet they got in over Robinhood. So something is amiss, okay? I don't know if it's the valuation, as some people are alluding to. I would think that the S&P 500 is not trying to make short-term, predictions of price. They're not traders of equities, right? They buy and hold for ever if they possibly can, right? As long as possible. You're an index, okay? They do try to do a very good performance. So they're not just trying to buy trash companies that are running up in valuation. I understand that, but that's not what we're seeing at Robinhood. We continuously see larger and larger tailwinds for the business, great wealth transfer, all of these things. So people are getting excited about the outcome of Robinhood, right? They're going international. They're getting institutional clientele. Retirement accounts are expanding. Robinhood Gold. There's so many reasons to love that business. People said that potentially it's regulatory. They've gotten in a lot of regulatory scrutiny. Robinhood has. So that's why another company got in. I would believe that if Block wasn't the company that's gotten in. Most recently, they've seen like a $255 million fine, a $75 million fine, a $40 million fine, all from anti-money laundering purposes, gang-related activities on their accounts, all of these things. Like I can't seem to split it. So Sagig is now saying what potentially it might be. Is it political? Right? I don't want to be that skeptical, but let's say it is. Okay, let's say there's a reason for them not wanting to pick Robinhood, and that it's not just about the valuation, potential froth, something like this. Okay, and whenever people talk about valuation, like let's price in a like how do you look at the forward earnings of a company that keeps missing? How do you do that? Because maybe they'll come in less than what you suspect them to come in at, like they have previously. So I find forward earnings on companies that miss to be very hard. And then, you know, member or the total amount of monthly active users on Cash App had held, and then in fact they started dropping in gross profit per user, which was their main metric, is why I was a shareholder before. That actually started to go negative. So I completely dropped the stock probably like 3 quarters ago. I don't know if Robinhood, they see a certain metric or something like this that's stopping it from getting in. That's essentially where I want to end that. This is why I have the title, and this could very well be the case. If there is something political about it, or if there is some sort of situation as to why Robinhood is not getting in, maybe they don't like brokerages, right? IBKR is not in the S&P 500 either. It's very cyclical, okay? Could SoFi potentially get in? There's a lot of legal, regulated banks in the S&P 500. They seem to like banks, okay? Could there be the potential for SoFi to get in to the S&P 500? So are they eligible today? No, they could not have gotten in today. But are they eligible on a market cap perspective? Yes. They need to hold this market cap. I think it's for 60 days or 90 days on a weighted average, okay? Whenever they do that, then they will be eligible. So as long as we stay in these high rungs, we then become eligible. Maybe they kick out a small name, replace it with SoFi. That absolutely could happen. I would not count it out. Maybe they want more bank exposure, fast growth bank exposure, innovative crypto, AI, all those sort of things that they have been seemingly enjoying lately. Okay. And SoFi works with a lot of the businesses that have recently been selected for the S&P 500, which definitely doesn't hurt either. So it would be nice. They are much smaller, but yeah. Tanner, my comment is literally the reason why. Let me scroll up. Volatility. Yeah, I mean, that could potentially be the case. But then that leads me to believe that maybe SoFi as well is also going to be a potential target that gets in before Robinhood. I don't think anyone specifically knows why, unless you work at S&P Global or something along those lines, which maybe someone in here does, but I still am surprised. Why is Nubank down? Well, Nubank is down because there's a little bit of Brazilian political situations going down. So people are worried about presidential changes that could potentially change the regulatory landscape for a lot of public companies that are there. I actually think it's a nothing burger, but there's just a slight ripple in the overall market in Brazil. But that's perfectly fine. It's not Brazilian exclusive. It's the entire index for the Brazilian stock market. So it's just Brazilian ripples. That's all. I predict that they'll both. Oh, Dookie with 10 gifted. Dookie, thank you so much. Honestly, Dookie Pie's just been supporting the channel like crazy. We have so many members now. And to the 10 people that just became a member, we actually have another show tonight called the FinTech Frenzy. And we have an after-hours show on that as well. What's pretty exciting about that is that it's only for members, which 10 more of you now are. So congratulations. Thank you, Dookie. I do appreciate it once again. All right. Okay, chill. Let's not do the train again. Let's just get through some information. Also, Doogie, I have a gripe with you. Hold on a second. Dookie is being super nice, and I have to say, Dookie, I'm sorry. She has single-handedly killed the community fund. All of this, or not all of it, but a good percentage of this was Dookie's investment. Now, I actually think SBET will do fine. If Ethereum and everything is going to do fine, we're going to hold this investment for a year. I don't know. Maybe we should buy a little dip on it. Who knows? But essentially, what is happening here is that they ended up diluting shareholders another $5 billion. But what they're going to do with that is that they're going to take that money and then go buy more Ethereum with it. So if Ethereum continues to run, like we just saw the stablecoin, the Genius Act bill get closed today and everything's finalized, great. Okay. That's only going to spell great things for Ethereum going forward. So this could be like an unbelievable benefit to companies like SBET that actually have more Ethereum coins on their treasury than even BMNR is, or BMR does. Sorry. Doogie with another 10 gifted. Holy crap. Happy birthday, Tanner. It's not my birthday. It feels like it's my birthday when Dookie's in chat, but like, holy crap. Thank you. Do appreciate that. Thanks for the membership, says Juan to Dookie. Make sure you at her. Say thank you. Okay, let's make sure. Yeah, very generous. Very generous. It's your birthday. It's not my birthday. But yeah, the fund got absolutely wrecked today because we're heavily invested in one name, which I actually think is speculative in nature. And the net asset value of SBET versus how much Ethereum trades on its own is a little high. But if we continue to see more efforts end up coming out, then that means that there's like, only going to be more tailwinds for SBET, right? Like if Ethereum rises, they will rise. And the whole idea of diluting is part of the strategy. That's the micro strategy or strategy to PLTR says, buy yourself some SBET shares. PLTR, I will make sure to do that. And that happened. Dookie gave another 10 gifted and then another 10 gifted after that. Holy crap, God. And then another 10. What is going on? Did we get 10, 20, 30, 40? Is that 60 memberships? What's going on? Dookie, what do you want? You want more SBET? Is this an SBET fund now? 10 more. I can't get any content out. Happy birthday. It feels like that, right? So if you guys want one, I think you have to check if you are eligible to get them. Here's another 10. Holy crap. There's going to be so many people in the after hours show. This is by far the most members I've ever had. Jeez. That's crazy. Thank you, Dookie. Honestly, thank you so much. Do appreciate it. It's a membership attack. It really is. Another 10. What? Are you going for a record? That's 90 memberships. Last time she did this, like, I don't know how many we ended up getting, but it was like, it doubled the number of members on the channel. Thank you, Dookie. I don't know what else. How are you supposed to act in these types of moments? Okay, let's try to get back to some content and hopefully it slows down. Okay. Yes, I'm a big believer that SoFi could get in. I also think that if they start to enact crypto, we have 100 new members, by the way. 100. That's insane. PLTR, also, we're going to get some SBET. So in the community fund, we'll make sure to I add them at night. It'll be a fractional whatever. So even if it's at like, what is it now? SBET fell a lot today, so it's probably not at in the 30s anymore, is it? 28.98. Yeah, so we'll just buy the $100 worth, and then it'll fractionalize to whatever that is. But thank you. Tanner, how do I get a membership? Honestly, I'm not sure, guys. I don't know the small intricacies of that, but you need to go into like the chat bar. There will be like a plus or like a dollar sign thing. Whenever you hit the dollar sign, I think there's something with the memberships thing that you have to make sure that you're allowed to get them. I'm not 100%. I think whenever you go into like gifted memberships, you have to make sure that you're allowed to receive them. There's like a disable button or enable button. Doogie's crazy. Everyone in chat is a green chat member now. Okay. So whenever crypto starts to roll out, I think that SoFi is going to really show, or sorry, whenever SoFi, dude, my head is scrambled. Whenever SoFi ends up getting into crypto, more diversified revenue streams, faster growth rates, hopefully faster than what Wall Street is anticipating. But I really do think that there is a possibility for them to get into the S&P 500. I'm thinking probably the most bullish in this space. I think a bunch of people, because they see companies with higher market caps, that they obviously won't get in. But like, look at Williams Sonoma. Williams Sonoma was like a $22 billion company whenever it got in. I think it's actually fallen below that now. But whenever they got in, they were a much smaller company than a lot of their peers. Okay. So there is a potential. Now, if they treat it like a bank, then, you know, if they look at tangible book value and all of these things, maybe they'll think that it's a little too high. Can we get Amit back on the show tonight? I'm not sure. Maybe he'll pop in for the FinTech Frenzy, the FinTech Friday show, which is the show after this one, which is why I started it early, just to make sure that we could go a little bit longer if need be. And then that one starts at 10 p.m. Yeah, we'll see. Ricardo, I'm surprised that you didn't say anything about Mercado Libre today. Where did they end at? Did they end down? No, they're actually up 2.66%. Wow. I guess inherently they are a Argentinian company, but still surprised by the outcome, even though we saw some ripples in Brazilian markets. Nubank, not as fortunate, down nearly 7% today. I'm still extremely positive and will be acquiring on that dip for sure. SBET going to rebound? Honestly, it's going to matter on if Ethereum continues to run. Okay. If Ethereum continues to run, potentially based on the amount of usage and more treasury companies that are acquiring and institutional investors, like I think we're going to see a massive rush of stablecoin demand, whether that is Circle, so you guys may know USDC or all of these ones. Most of those stablecoins, the larger ones, are multi-chain, but the large percentage of the volume ends up going through Ethereum chains. The more that happens, the better it is for Ethereum. The more that the stakers are making gas fees, that means that the ecosystem is very healthy. The more that we end up seeing like businesses that are coming out to start these crypto projects, the more that get done on Ethereum, the better for Ethereum, the better for SBET. Added some more SBET at 29. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Stephen Fiorillo's take on it, where if you want some, you know, like SBET will go down to 18, says Dookie Pie. You made me buy it at 37. You made me buy $1,000 of it at 37. Now you're telling me it's going to go down to 18? Are we selling? What's going on? Is there a connection with new and SoFi dropping? No. Not that I would see. Do you own? Yeah, I own Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin. Those are the only three that I do have. No, I don't have any cyber names. That would include Palo Alto, but I continue to look for a cybersecurity name to add to my portfolio. I know I need one. I just not sure yet. Definitely not sure. Let's quickly watch a YouTube clip, and the video, I don't know if it's going to get pulled down for this. I'm not quite sure. There are certain creators online that are things and other ones that are a little bit better, but we'll see. It's a minute-long clip. I don't know. This is Dave Ramsey talking about SoFi Technologies.
I've heard of this online banking called SoFi. I don't know if you've heard anything about it.
Oh, yeah, I know a little bit about it. I'd stay away
that
from those people. They're about the only thing I can think of that's worse than U.S. Bank. But, yeah. Yeah. No, you need to go to listen, you need to go to your local community bank or go to a good credit union like Fairwinds Credit Union that we endorse. And these are banks that actually know the human beings that do business with them. The people that you're talking about, you're a number with. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then get you a good high-yield savings account to park your emergency fund in. Fairwinds Credit Union is an endorsement of ours. We endorse them because we believe in credit unions, we believe in good ones, and we believe in good small-town, small community banks. But we don't do business with the Wells Fargos and the Bank of Americas, the U.S. banks, the Fifth Thirds, and the, God help you, the SoFis.
I've heard of this online banking called SoFi. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. I mean, first off, I looked into Fairwinds a little bit. Essentially, it's exactly what you would expect. It's extremely low rewards in their accounts. They are minimum balances, account fees, everything that people step away from big banks for is exactly what you're going to find at Fairwinds. Now, is it potentially true that the customer service there is more personable and the people actually know you? I think that is the case. But just like any sort of craft service or something like this, where everything is handmade and hand designed, it's going to be much more expensive, and maybe it'll be a friendlier experience, but it doesn't mean that Costco and Walmart are not offering their customers good services. Okay. The idea that he says, oh, and gosh, help you. Like if frickin' that you don't use SoFi that wants to help you get out of debt, as if Fairwinds is very happy to get you out of debt, but SoFi, God forbid that they put out Cash Coach that tells you to pay down your credit card, a product that no other bank would do. And the JP Morgan, every single one is bad other than these small banks that, by the way, we are sponsored with. Yeah. That's funny. That is funny. Now, I think that, like most people, Dave Ramsey offers a great service that whenever you look at should you have debt or should you not have debt, not everyone should have debt, okay? But there's sometimes where he gets so in his way that anything that steps even a centimeter out of that, he calls it a 100% no. Like he does not have a credit card. A billionaire doesn't have a credit card. It's silly in my opinion. I love credit cards. I've never gotten burnt on one. I've only made a ton of money on credit cards. I've never lost a penny. Okay. I've never paid a credit card bill or like paid interest on a credit card bill. I've never paid a credit card bill. But Dave Ramsey is in his way, and it's cultivated quite the audience. But the same thing of going online and saying that SoFi is doing members a disservice, I think is also completely unfair. very, very many people are coming on to SoFi's platform, seeing an amazing experience, and you know, really, truly getting their money right. David B says, do you think Hood will ever become a holding company? Would that help them or hurt them, restrict them when it comes to their innovation, crypto token products? David, thank you so much for the donation. What I'll say is that Hood, I do not think will become a holding or a bank in any way, at least not for the foreseeable future. They did actually end up trying or try to become a bank in 2019, and then they realized that it actually doesn't fit their what they're looking for, and they ended up not going through with it. It could potentially slow down international expansion. New products have to be sort of approved before you end up rolling them out, these sort of things. In terms of crypto and that sort of stuff, I think that's off the table. That's more old school. Ever since the Trump administration has came in and Gary Gensler has stepped away, that's sort of the new school now. So if SoFi were to have become a bank in these days, I don't think that they would have been told to remove crypto at all. Okay. But we did end up becoming a bank when, Gary Gensler was overseeing the SEC. So it's just, those are the problems, I guess. Can't stand Ramsey in any way. I'm on the opposite side of that. I think that there's definitely a certain type of person that really does appreciate the advice from Dave Ramsey. I don't think he's trying to cause harm to anyone. I also think that most of his styles are so conservative that it actually doesn't allow anyone to make any discretionary income ever. Like, only purchase S&P 500, and even then you should not have it all. There's like, I don't know. I don't agree with the ratios that he asked for. I don't agree that debt is entirely bad. I think that bad debt is bad and good debt is good. I'm not looking to pay for my house in cash. I'm not looking to get I don't know. I'm not here to disagree with Dave Ramsey all that much. I mean, I'm a fan of his. I don't think that he's doing wrong things, other than saying that healthy businesses are treating their customers poorly. Whenever you see that the customer success stories written by the customers, not advocated by SoFi, that people were very happy that SoFi gave them a loan that potentially they couldn't get elsewhere. Okay. If SoFi wasn't there, people would continue to go down the rung into more and more predatory lending standards with origination fees, with all of these problems that you're going to see, like potentially really high interest rates or terrible terms on the loan. SoFi is a pretty great way for people to fulfill a credit need, which is needed in America, especially whenever they're consolidating credit card debts. I don't know. Debt is evil. I mean, you're in the wrong chat, my friend. SoFi is a bank. That's like, credit kind of makes the world go round. It's a little bit of the truth. All debt is not bad debt. That's my opinion. I think that there's a lot of bad debts, but if you think debt is evil, buy your house in cash. Okay. Dave has an old man mentality and doesn't. I don't know. I'm not here to talk him down. Okay, let's quickly take a look because we've mentioned a couple times that today was a huge moment for crypto. So I don't just want to hear it from myself. Let's hear it from the great and powerful Brian Armstrong. He's the CEO of Coinbase, one of the largest institutions, sort of like the AWS of crypto, as Devin Ryan would put it, which was the analyst that I just recently spoke with. If you guys haven't seen that interview, I'm telling you, it's like one of the best I've ever done. He completely changed my mind on Coinbase. I obviously turned very bullish on it recently as well. Ever since we started seeing regulatory changes, I picked it in the stock draft, but he's made me long-term bullish. But anyway, let's take a look.
The Genius Act that gives the market more clarity. Shares finished up more than 2%. So joining us now from the White House is Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, along with our own Emily Wilkins. Emily, take it away.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Brian, thank you so much for being here. You got that shout out, of course, from the president. Talk to me a little bit about what this stablecoin bill becoming law is going to mean for Coinbase.
Yeah, well, this stablecoin bill passing is really a financial revolution for America. It means that crypto can finally start updating the financial system, especially for our payments, which are running on these creaky old systems that are decades old. Now, every payment in our economy can be fast and cheap and global, under 1 second and 1 cent anywhere in the world. So this is a huge milestone for crypto, and the job's not done. We also want to get the market structure bill called Clarity passed as well. The president said he wants to see that on his desk by September 30th. We're committed to trying to help that happen along with the rest of the industry, and it offers good consumer protections and regulation for Bitcoin, Ethereum, all.
The Genius Act that gives the market.
I don't know why that went all green, but yeah, very bullish for Coinbase here, and essentially many of the companies that we're going to talk about in fintech frenzies and these sort of things. Now, whenever we're talking about like what he said about payments, about payments will become almost instant, and about 1 cent in order to facilitate all these payments, what does that do to the MasterCards of the world, to the Visas of the world, to all of the payment processors online like Stripe and Fiserv and Global Payments Network and all of these other companies, right? This is a big deal. And in fact, it's so cheap that Coinbase actually offers free payments through Base Pay. Okay. This is going to change a lot of things. And in fact, whenever it becomes instant payments, a lot of the time, many people that end up sending and receiving payments have to wait days in order for that money to settle. Well, whenever you see this sort of in high frequency trading, but that can be in many cases for businesses that are making tons of transactions or consumers, whatever. But instant payments allows the second that money settles to then go back out and work again. If you essentially take those days of settling away from businesses, not just one time a year, but every single transaction, the rate in which the velocity of money moves will increase. That's very good. So I love what stablecoins do for not just the payment companies, not just the crypto companies, but also just for economies in general. This is another one of those multipliers like artificial intelligence or, robotics, or another piece of automation like stablecoins, crypto, these sort of things. So make sure that you continue to keep an eye on it. I'll keep you guys up to date, but it's an important thing whenever MasterCard is putting out articles about it saying stablecoins are taking center stage, and they're saying, hey, you know what? We're not trying to fight it. We are building with it. Okay. So they are saying, hey, MasterCard's going to be here for you whenever stablecoins come around. I don't have a problem with MasterCard adapting to these new standards. What I have a problem with is them trying to price the same way that they did previously whenever there's so many new entrants into this space. Stablecoins are actually pretty easy to set up because they're inherently set up through the blockchain technology, right? So what will the landscape be like whenever everyone is using a sort of a decentralized platform where we have a ton of different payment processors and different ways to send money, not just through the duopoly that we've currently sent in many different forms. I'm very excited about that. Let's see here. Mark is talking about the timing of markets really quick in chat. I think that this is important to highlight that we are in July. It's historically one of the strongest months. September coming up is historically one of the weakest. In fact, whenever you look at most of the market crashes that have ever happened, all fall in late September, early October. It is quite interesting to take a look at. I continue to stay fully invested. I don't try to time those markets because it's not that every single year has the exact same timing. It's more just averages. So I always feel like the one time that I end up selling off to try to take advantage of that seasonality will be the one year where it plays quite the opposite. So far, this July has been very much on point. cut your hair, then we'll talk. Hood conspiracy. Yeah, Vlad did cut his hair. He's got hair as short as mine, if not maybe shorter now. So, yeah. Investors don't worry about the drop. They take advantage of them. I don't think that you have to have cash to buy those dips, right? So that's sort of the idea, is how much cash can you accumulate to then buy those dips? Are you going to be like Warren Buffett that tries to find a dip and is accumulating hundreds of billions of dollars? Now, he's not doing that purposely just to buy one big equity dip that he sees coming into the future. He's trying to, fully future-proof Berkshire Hathaway. But if you're buying with 2% cash, that's great. If you're buying with 15%, that's great. If you're buying with 50, you're probably having a great time. So, what I like to do really is that I have things that are high risk and low risk, and then as they all fall, I sell the things that have not fallen as much based on that by design. Like potentially, JEPQ might be a good example. Maybe that falls 15% during a big market correction. And then maybe my SoFi falls by 40%. Well, I'll rotate JEPQ out and put it into SoFi or names like that. So then I can get out of a name that is much safer and has less upside and put it into something that could have a bounce back into a continued bull market. John Chan, I just told you I have a couple funds like that, like not necessarily low risk positions too often. I mean, I have the Salesforces and these types of names that I think are more secure, Google and Amazon and all of these. But really, I don't even mean that. I just mean a couple funds that I rotate into individual equities that I think will outperform. I wouldn't necessarily put Nvidia into the low risk category. I obviously think that it is low risk, but volatile. It could definitely be very volatile. Any $4 trillion company that's the first to get there has the opportunity to drop quite a lot. Okay. Let's see here. So yeah, I was going to bring up Fairwinds and everything, but I think you guys get the point. The personal savings rates, all these things. I know that it is probably better and more personalized to have someone talk with you. And maybe that's what Dave Ramsey prefers. But in order to pay those people that are so friendly, that costs money. Money that doesn't just go to margin for the business. Maybe there's some fintechs that are being greedy, but a lot of them grow by giving back to the customers, right? You have to strike a balance between being profitable as a business, but also being generous to attract customers and loyalty and stuff like this. SoFi offers such an amazing rate. All the no overdraft fees and everything else that you get for being able to set up an account, zero minimums, all that stuff, that comes at a cost. Right? Having the best technology didn't come free. But if they had offices all over the country filled with employees and everything, it would be a lot harder to get there. They're using that additional capital that they don't pay for thousands and thousands of buildings to help supply a larger APY to customers. So yeah, potentially you are a number at those banks, but it doesn't mean that you're misserved. In fact, it could actually mean that you are being better served that way. Mad Matt says, are we all members now? Everyone is, except for Mad Matt, unfortunately. Sorry to say. No, there is a couple of you, but there's more people coming into chat now. I mean, the numbers on the streams lately have been insane, guys. I really do appreciate the support. Obviously, stocks are doing very well. And what I actually find I've like to think that I've done best is bringing a calm side to investing whenever markets are at their worst. Okay. That's at least what I've always thought my strength was. During good times, I also really appreciate that you guys are showing up. I don't try to be a hype man. Obviously, I am excited by companies that continue to go up and I think will continue to dominate, but I don't want to try to call out for these unbelievably high price targets on companies that I don't think can actually get there. I do believe in very bullish outcomes for stocks that I hold. Obviously, Nvidia, I think, is getting past 200, if not 250 over like the next 12 months. I think like there's, SoFi could continue to rocket higher. Robinhood will continue to climb. I have, very bullish perspectives on those companies. I just don't want to get ridiculous with it and say that every single investment at the peak of the markets today is all 5Xs and everything like this. I think that gets a little crazy. Neil says, is my strategy of buying leap calls in extreme fear and buying leap puts in extreme, I think he meant to say extreme greed, insane because how long bull runs can last? How long bull runs can last? I think that's exactly your answer, right? Is extreme fear can last probably 2 to 3 years, but even in certain extreme volatile moments, we've seen bear markets that last, a little bit longer than that. But bull markets especially end up going a lot longer. In terms of option strategies, I'm probably not the best person to give advice on that. However, I don't play complex option strategies. I like buying shares, holding them long term, and writing covered calls on them. Yeah. No problem, Neil. Thank you so much for the donation. Bull runs can last for years. Yeah, I think the one that we came in before 2020 lasted something like 12 years, the longest bull run ever in the last 100. So, yeah, they can last an extremely long period of time, but bear markets usually last 2 to 3. I think we've seen ones that are closer to 4 or 5. Yeah. All right. I have a grudge against Block and Williams Sonoma. Yeah. There's so many companies that are already in the S&P 500 that are not even eligible. Remember, these aren't even rebalances. Like, we should have a mass rebalance. I know that we won't. But many of the companies that are in the S&P 500, I think it's some number, like some crazy number, like 150 of them are no longer eligible because the market caps have exceeded the total size of those businesses. So, there's a lot of room to potentially change that. That's why I find it surprising that Robinhood and these sort of companies are not in. Some people say valuation, but it's like, are we buying, like, is the goal of the S&P Global to pick, are they going bargain shopping, or are we buying the best companies in America? Because I think what everyone tells new people that are learning about the S&P 500 is that the S&P 500 is a basket of the 500 best businesses in America. Okay. That, I think, is a much better basket that I would like to invest in. So Hood, I would like to think, is either getting very close to being put in that basket or is already there at $100 billion market cap. Like, come on. Block is the largest payment processor for local stores. I don't even think that's true either. I think there's Moneris and a bunch of other smaller payment processors that probably do a lot more business. But I don't care that they're the largest payment processor for local businesses. They don't process a lot of payments. Like, you have a lot of companies that are processing and growing much faster than Block is. Look at Shift4. Shift4 is dominating the speed at the growth and the margins that what Block is at. Block is, I'm sorry, guys. Block is a sad company. Like, I know this business quite well compared to most. Okay. I've been a shareholder. I would love to have access to a company that has both the merchant side and the consumer side. Dual-sided commerce is a very exciting space. It's why I thought that Block would do very well. But you can't set expectations, guidance on a business and underperform it for 3 to 4 quarters in a row. That's a bad business. They have shot and aimed for a goal of being rule of 40 for the foreseeable future, and they've continued to not be able to hit that. And honestly, it's not Jack Dorsey's fault. Well, Jack Dorsey, I think, is an amazing local manager. Like, I think that he is super creative, working with small teams. He's unbelievable. But the second that he tries to hire out and make other people take care of bigger teams. He seemed to have picked the wrong people for the job in Cash App, in Square, and it's just been a constant problem over and over. The S-bet bags are hurting, guys. I'm telling you. But we will I'm actually not like super anti I'm not super anti SBET right now because I do think that Ethereum is in a really good place right now with stablecoins becoming so popular. I think we're going to see a massive tokenized revolution. You're seeing SEC people talk about it. You're seeing the world experts in that space talk about it. Hood's trying to revolutionize. You're going to see Charles Schwab and all those other businesses get involved. It'll be huge. I do think that SBET will recover. Tanner, you're too kind. He's not a leader. Well, I don't think that that's fair. Every time that he's taken control of a business, he's done pretty well at it. Like, what was her name? Amrita? I was running Square before. I don't remember her name. I think it was Amrita, maybe. Whenever he took control and became the CEO of Square seller, it started doing better. We started seeing improved results. They brought the amount of apps for Square from like 5 separate apps down to 1. Like, it seems like wherever he specifically goes, there's massive improvements. Whenever he steps away, the foundation falls from underneath those parts of the business. Plus, Block doesn't even know what it wants to be. Like, I like focused businesses. Block seems like a combination of all the wacky ideas that Jack Dorsey's thought of in his head. It's a buy now, pay later, Cash App, Square, Bitcoin mining service, custodial service, Tidal, which is a music streaming platform. They have, what are the other ones? TBD or whatever. There's a whole bunch. Spiral. I'm naming some of them that I've already named, but those are the actual names. But it is awkward to hold on to businesses like that whenever they don't know how to find themselves. Who the heck is using Tidal? And then look how much they spent on it. I don't know a single person using Tidal. Maybe there will be some people in this chat. Maybe. Does anyone here use the Tidal streaming service? Music streaming service? Or are you, using Shop or Spotify or Apple Music like everyone else? I use Tidal. Here, I'm so jaded, I don't even believe them. I just think that I asked someone in here to use it, and that's what they said. I don't even believe you. Maybe some people do. YouTube Music, yeah, that's another one. All right. YouTube Music comes with Premium. Premium is the best service that I could have ever purchased, honestly. Sometimes I'll log into YouTube like on a guest account and I'm like, oh my God, what are these ads popping up? Like, what is going on? Like, it's so jarring whenever you haven't seen an ad and you're like, what? I was just watching a video here. It is like, once you use it, that's why they give like 3 months away for like $1 sometimes, is because that once you try it, you're locked in. You could never go back. 30 euros? What kind of pricing do they have over in Europe? I think in Canadian dollars, for me, it's like $15. I think in America, it's like 10 or 11. 30 euros? Okay. So I saw this news. This is scary. For some people that don't know me very well, I'm a big Nvidia shareholder. I am Happy holding it at like half my entire portfolio. Rumor. Top Republican on House China Committee objects to resumption of the Nvidia H20 chip shipment to China in letter to Lutnick. So essentially, there's a $50 billion segment, according to Jensen Huang, which is selling specific chips to China that pass, sort of a perimeter cap. Okay. And this ended up getting cleared by Trump to say, hey, you actually can go back and sell Nvidia H20 chips to China, but we're going to keep some oversight on it. We don't want them getting too powerful. AI is quite the powerful tool, so we don't want China to have those powerful tools. That's essentially it. But now some Republican members are saying that hey, maybe we shouldn't even do that. Vlad Tenev is running polls online to see if he should keep his hair short. You believe what's going on these days?
In the near future. And the U.S. needs to be a leader. We're a leader in financial services. We should be a leader in all frontier technologies. And the stablecoin legislation is the first step in that, by allowing U.S. dollars and treasuries to be put on crypto technology in digital form. That opens the door to digitizing all kinds of real world assets, from stocks to eventually private equity, art. Anything can be powered by this technology. So we're excited to see the U.S. taking a big step in leadership. And pretty soon we'll christen this thing and the bill will become law. So it's great to be here for the industry and for consumers.
By the way, what an absolute Chad. There's not many companies that, like, for example, I was talking with people after I posted my extreme rage post that Block ended up getting into the index. It's up another 4% today. 109.74 is what we closed at, but at one point it was actually $113.44. 113.44. Okay. I've never felt so confident in holding a business that has run so much in a year-to-date perspective, essentially 185% year-to-date. In a one-year term, it's up 387%, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, 378%. And yet I still feel confident that they're going to potentially go higher. Now, is it going to go at that exact same rate? Not at all. We will need to make some cool-offs. And in fact, whenever markets end up dipping, they are going to dip hard. Okay, this will be a volatile name. So careful with writing options on this name, purchasing for the short term. I don't think that this is the type of play that you want to do that in. If you are a long-term holder of stocks and you want to buy the next large generational names, I think it's worth it to look at Robinhood a few times to really understand the business. So, Robinhood's a very, very good name. They seem to be able to attract users and, continue to increase the assets under management and expand their product offerings and cross-sell those to existing users better than any of the players in fintech or even outside of that. I mean, honestly, whenever you just look at tech companies, they don't look like they have this level of growth. Rule of 40, by the way, the thing that Block is failing to achieve, which is their revenue growth plus their EBITDA margin, is that Robinhood's, I think, is at 111%. A rule of 40, which means that if you can get the combined growth rates or growth rate percentage plus margin percentage, which means you're growing profitably, that's the sort of understanding. If you can get that above 40, that's a great business. Robinhood is at 111. Both aspects of the margin and the year-over-year growth rate is both higher than the rule of 40 alone. Block has not been able to achieve a rule of 40 in years. That's the only thing I'm trying to say. How much did Hood drop the last time? It was quite a lot, actually. Like I think during like before the Liberation Day, we ended up getting up to like $65, $66 a share, if I remember correctly. And then it ended up falling down to $35 on oh no, sorry. This was before Liberation Day. This was whenever Trump announced the tariff, or sorry, the first levy of tariffs, which ended up going down to 35. After Liberation Day, that crashed it all the way down to 34, and in fact, 34.30, something like that. These are the things that I'm looking at right here. This was quite an unbelievable run. So this, if I am checking the dates correctly, was, or maybe I'm not. Where am I? Yeah, no, maybe this is whenever I started buying the company originally, I think. No. I did buy here. This is where Tevis told me to buy in. He didn't end up actually getting any, which was August 5th. That was after the Japanese yen carry trade. I bet you that was August 5th. That's what I remember. But I think it was here. No, why does this look wrong? Earnings. Maybe this was here. Where we had run up, and then during earnings, it did not increase. And in fact, it actually ended up dipping after earnings, and I was acquiring all within this dip. So this is where I first acquired. That must have been, because after that, it was literally in a straight line. It went up, went back down, acquired more, and then was acquiring all through here, but didn't buy all the way up here. This is unbelievable. The run it's been on has just been insane. So it was after, I literally remember it verbatim because I was live. I was talking with Amit. They showed off the first like unbelievable quarter that they did, which if I remember correctly, was like Q1 of 2024, where they really saw a step up in their growth. But the stock was in like the 20s. And then whenever the market actually saw the numbers, they dumped off for no reason. It was like a large double beat. It was really, really successful quarter. And I have later found out that we were speaking with IR, and they said that there was a large amount of private investors who wanted out because they had other like seed and different series investments that they wanted to invest in. So, they were dumping just because they saw the good news as potential liquidity, which it was. I mean, I bought in during that time. So it was a blessing. It got me one of the best trades I've ever gotten in years. Highland says, Rivian for the buy. Worded a little bit weird, but Highland, I will make sure that goes in the community portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the community portfolio. It's a little bit red lately. We've gone a little degen, and this is what we've constructed. These are not my decisions, okay? So just to be clear, this fund is completely ran by donations on stream. It's purely for entertainment, purely to see, what the market is like, okay? And SBET has created quite the investment. Now, it was actually doing quite well for us because we were acquiring small bits and it was running up like 130+%. And then we started seeing large bets at higher areas from Dookie, but that's okay. I actually think we'll do fine there. SoFi clearly is one of our biggest positions. I actually think we will settle out with this being the largest position. I mean, we're practically a SoFi channel, so like, come on. But ABCL is doing very well. We do actually have a little bit of Rivian, but thanks to Highland, we just added a little bit more. So Highland will add to this allocation here. I always plug them after, but you can see all the things here. And then if you ever want to see all the different purchases that we've made, you can see everything. Oh, why did these not go through? Oh no. Okay, well, we'll have to double check why those didn't go through. And then I'll try to rebuy those. The orders were submitted. I don't know why they failed. Okay, I'll double check that. But yeah, anyone can visit the Savvy Trader thing and follow it if you have the link. It's in the description. But I'll make sure that if any of the orders fail, that we go back. I didn't even realize that could be a problem through Savvy Trader. So we'll have to double check that. These are not sleep well at night stocks. I mean, I agree. There's a lot of them that aren't down 7.9% in one day. But, you know, I'm hopeful that you guys will beat the markets and that we will end up turning it around. Hopefully. I don't know if maybe we should buy the dip on SBET or something. Yeah. Maybe if we end up falling a lot, like over the next little bit, we should do like a stream to talk about what we do. Because I don't want to just watch the fund go to zero and I just lose out on a bunch of money. I mean, let's try to craft it in a certain way that we save a little bit, you know? If you sleep well at night with that portfolio, you have narcolepsy. Yeah, maybe that's true, right? Other than the stocks that you normally discuss, anything else that you're considering or waiting for the right price? I mean, maybe just a cybersecurity name. The ones that I'm honestly looking at are like CrowdStrike or Rubrik. Those are the ones that keep popping up. I'm potentially looking at entry on those, but they are so expensive versus other industries that you could potentially get your hands on. I think I want a drone name of sorts. I think I want to get back into my like the type of investing that has a small investment in speculative new industries, and I think that drones will be a huge one. So yeah. Cyber ETF. That could work. A cyber ETF could work. 10 or 10 cent opinion? I don't have one. Archer or Joby? I don't know. Skig, I'll always answer your questions. Thanks so much for being here. I don't know about drones having a moat. Not everything needs to have a moat. Some things just need to have a market. You know? I don't think there's a lot of companies that don't have moats. They just make good products. Robinhood has a moat that is speed. As long as they keep putting out new products, they will continue to have a moat. But until then, you know, there's a lot of replicable business within what they're doing. But it doesn't make for a bad business. Tanner, do you think that a GameStop type event can happen to Hood again? So I want to be specific. Are you referring to another like collateral type, hey, you need to pay this type of fee? Because no, I don't think that'll ever happen again. Do I think that's something like they could make a decision that ends up turning people off of the company in short periods of time? Obviously. But I also think, like last time, that they could dig out of that. I think that SoFi can get into situations where the brand is hurt. They did recently, whenever they told that the moratorium on student loans should end. Students were pissed. They said that they would stop using SoFi. It wasn't as big of an event as GameStop, but like companies do say and do things that other people disagree with, and maybe will decide to stop using that product. Do you think the tokenization that Hood is promoting so much is threatening to some of the SPY giants, and that's part of why they left out of the index? I mean, it could definitely happen, but I also don't see why they're not trying to do that as well, unless you're just like, There's still, to some degree, I think, needs to be some sort of market maker, at least for now. So I don't know. I don't see how that could be the case. Maybe that is, but like it's like saying stable coins threaten US dollars. It's like, okay, but it still needs to be pegged to real US dollars. So you're still going to increase the total amount of use cases for USD. If you are tokenizing and using that as a proxy to go and buy shares on someone else's behalf, you're still going to be buying real shares of those businesses at existing, exchanges. Tanner, is there a better buying opportunity coming for Hood? No one, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or myself or anyone in between, we're not fortune tellers. Okay? I don't know. My gut would like to think that there will be times where Robinhood will be cheaper after a market sell-off, and market sell-offs always happen. Okay? There's like usually one a year of like 10%. Okay? That happens. And there could be a lot more than one a year. But anyway. Will there be a better buying opportunity? The problem is I don't know if that 10% drop happens whenever Robinhood goes up to 140 and then drops down to 120 and then recovers. And it's like, oh, well, the peak or the trough of the last dip is not as high as the peak of today. That's the problem. It's not that I don't think that there will be a dip in the future. It's just, will that dip be as high as the dip prior? Momentum Swing says, I'll take Neo over Rivian. Sounds like you want Neo shares in the portfolio. Let me just make sure I screenshot that. Oh my gosh, I gotta sneeze. And Payush, Hood should be in the S&P 500 today instead of Square. Still calling it Square. You don't want to give them the benefit of being three-dimensional. They're a 2D business to you. Oh, man, it's like right here. What an awful feeling that is. And that was my phone. Okay. Like a mid, I need to get a new chair. This thing is squeaky, bro. Holy. I actually got some WD-40. I just don't even know, like, should I even be using that? Or is this, I don't know. Is that a chair fixer? This is what AI is for, and I'm just lazy. WD-40. Well, it's in my hand, bro. I'm prepped. I got the stick and everything. It's full. Stacy Woods becomes a new member of the channel. Thank you for being here, Stacy. WD-40 will stink the room. All right, well, that's actually probably a good suggestion. Like, should I take the chair outside? Okay. It's toxic. Use grease. My whole life, I swear. So if Steelcase is a chair, I've never heard of it. But my whole life, you can ask Amit, whatever. The one partnership that I've always wanted since starting YouTube was I wanted a Herman Miller partnership. I don't know why. I've always just wanted to sit in a chair and say that I was sponsored by Herman Miller. But I've never even heard of Steelcase. I'm sure they're good. If you're putting them in the... Are you listening, Herman Miller? They make WD-40 with grease. I don't think this is the one that I have. You could tell I'm a computer kid, right? And like a bunch of you guys probably are hardworking individuals that like use your hands for a living and are smart and take care of your house and take care of your family. And I'm here, like, let me build the spreadsheets for you, but someone needs to come fix my chair. Dude, yeah, I don't know. My girlfriend always complains about my soft hands, I guess. I don't know. The only hopeful part is that I might have some gym calluses or something like this. That's it. Jeez. Okay. Calls on Wayfair. Paul, honestly, I believe you. Spray silicon. Do you guys understand? This is what is on my desk. I promise you this is what will be used. I know you guys are like, oh, it's toxic, but I don't know. I'll take it outside or something. You'll die. You'll die? What are you talking? I'm going to die. They sold it to me at like Home Depot. What do you mean I'll die? I'm not going to lick it. You know? Call 911, spray the thing, and then be prepped. Okay. Uber actually got some upgraded price targets for those that are interested in Uber, and that's actually a name that I do look at frequently. It's not one that I hold, but sometimes you have a name that you're just always monitoring and you never get into, and then you look back on it like after a while and you're like, I should have just done it. Like, oh my gosh, it's doubled. It's the worst feeling in the world is whenever you know something's good and then you're just like, nah, but there's these small concerns and they might become real, and then they never do. Ugh, yeah, Uber's on that list. Anyway, they got a price target increase to $115 from B of A, and I quote, massive supply coming online in the next few years. Uber's latest announcement adds to a string of recent autonomous vehicle partnership launches, including Baidu and Volkswagen, marking its 21st autonomous vehicle partnership overall and their 13th in the mobility segment, because they also have like food delivery, stuff like this, or freight as well. With AI driving the proliferation of level 4 autonomous vehicles, we anticipate a more competitive market landscape that should benefit Uber as a primary demand aggregator. Dude, I'm telling you guys, I know I'm struggling to read here. There's a sneeze right here. I gotta blow my nose. I gotta blow my nose. One sec. This is ridiculous. Unfrickin' real. 1 second. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. That was necessary. Cocaine is a hell of a drug, that Mark Bender says. You want to know how much of a nerd I am? I don't even think I've seen cocaine in my life. You think cool kids at the party are offering me cocaine? Yeah, right. All right. Let's go to yeah, I mean, there's not too much. I mean, it was a Friday, but yeah, I was the narc. Maybe it's less available. I have no idea. I was more making a joke, but yeah, I've never done cocaine. Uber to 150 Lego. Yeah, I mean that's a possibility, I guess. I don't look too much into the valuation of Uber lately, but I am watching the autonomous vehicle rollout versus the potential for Tesla and the competitors that don't want to deal with Uber. Who is winning? Payush donates Uber on our way. Payush, thank you so much. Let me make sure that I screenshot this right here. But ladies and gentlemen, if there's no other questions on SoFi, something like this, let's talk some fintechs maybe. Did TTD join the Standard & Poor's 500? Yes, it did. S&P 500. I might be the first person on earth to call it the Standard & Poor's 500, like just the full. Definitely not the first, but one of the first lately. Thank you, Payush. I appreciate that. I'll make sure to enter that tonight. Tanner, have you looked into Zeta? I mean, slightly, but not a lot, to be honest. Just very recently, because I saw a bunch of comments on it, and so I looked at their investor relations. But to be honest, no, I'm okay. What's the verdict? SoFi before Hood? I mean, it would seem pretty preposterous to put in a $25 billion company before a $100 billion company. But if they are looking for banks, if they are looking for potentially more apolitical businesses, SoFi could be that name that they're looking for. Maybe they think that the brand is there. Maybe they think that the, regulatory risks and that maybe SoFi is going to take less or do less things that might attract more, insight from SEC and different regulatory agencies that might make that a hard call for the S&P to make. But I don't know. Opening a SoFi account just for kicks just now. Paul, awesome, man. Yeah, if there's people that hold SoFi, you're in America and you have the eligibility to buy or like to use an account, try it out, because that's going to be one of the best sources of due diligence that you have as an American in those businesses, is to literally try the product, see if you like it. I think a lot of people that use their traditional banks go, oh, you know what? I have all my bills set up. I have all these direct deposits all set up. It will be such a pain switching, until you go over to SoFi and you realize that they can help you with that bill switching process and those, direct deposit switching processes. And maybe it actually might be worth it for you to save some money. Now, I don't have an affiliate link or anything to give you, but it could potentially be worth it for some of you, even if 5 of you in chat decide that SoFi is where it's at. People who are opening get the Rakuten $300 bonus. There you go. Paul says SoFi as a product is fantastic. MD, you're going to hate me, man. Not only do I not have a Taylor Lauber interview to show you, I haven't even reached out. My bad. I've been reaching out to a lot of analysts lately. I think that they're able to talk on the new, upcoming earnings results and stuff. That I think is very interesting. WDFC. Oh my gosh. We just got donated $10 to buy WD40. WD40 shares. This is a $3 billion company. Fighter's Destiny. I had no clue. Year to date, they're down 12%. They're up 18% over the last 5 years. And I mean, you must be offering a dividend. A 1.6% dividend? This is not even that exciting. Up 18% over 5 years, you offer a 1.6% dividend? That's got to be boring, but I'll trust Fighter's Destiny here. But honestly, man, you might be getting put up on trial whenever this comes to be one of our underperformers. because I'm going to hold the people accountable for their picks. We're going to put them up on the screen here, and they're going to tell us their case for why we should keep their stock. And if it's, I don't know, you needed a new chair, we're selling it. Okay? Not a chance we're keeping it. You got the product right there. I mean, yeah, but someone said I'm going to die whenever I use it. So that sounds bad. Why is this in quotes? Can you give me a quick overview or opinion on Nubank? They're amazing. Great company. Fast growing market. There's not a lot of competition, large population, and they do everything that SoFi is doing. Opening accounts, setting up investments, credit cards, personal loans, the whole 9 yards. So similar business in a different geography, and doing it very fast. And the customers absolutely love them. And whenever I say just like SoFi has 11 million members. I think Nubank has 120 million. Actually, I don't think. They have 120 million users. They're massive. Why did Buffett sell Nubank? I mean, I'm not sure exactly why he sold Nubank specifically. It's definitely not one of the names that he commonly purchases. But yeah, I'm not sure. It wasn't a very large purchase for them whenever they bought it. I think that Nubank today is a much better buy than whenever he purchased it, which is whenever it went public and purchased $1 billion worth. It's much cheaper today than it was back then. Oh, sorry, guys. Can you compare SoFi and Nubank to a similar European player, Revolut? Yeah, Nubank's growing a lot faster than Revolut. Revolut looks better than SoFi. We'll see a lot more information whenever they go public, though. Missed out on the Dookie love. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you get your own membership. Liked and subscribe, bro. I'll be looking forward to your videos. Ladies and gentlemen, this weekend, I have a pretty exciting YouTube video coming out on SoFi. It'll be more for the newer investors, a little bit of oversight into what SoFi does and the reason why I like the business here, even at $22 per share. So, but I put a lot of work into these types of videos. So, I don't know if you guys prefer that or if you prefer the daily updates or more of the more curated style, the ones that come out every 2 or 3 days. It's actually more like 3 or 4 days this time, but yeah. Finally, a SoFi video. I've been putting out SoFi videos. Besides Robinhood, what financial services do you wish were in Canada? Maybe Venmo. I would love Venmo. I think I'd become a customer pretty quickly. I'm not sure. Dude, why just donated $10 for Neo stock? I'll purchase Neo with that donation. Thank you so much, my friend. WD-40 is up 2% in the after hours. Yeah, it's the stream. They saw me pull it up on stream. It was free marketing. We need SBET to pump so Dookie can make us members. I don't even know if she holds it herself. I think that I kind of sprung it on her because she was donating memberships rather than just pure dollars. So it wasn't even really supposed to go into the fund. So probably in a way I kind of brought it down even more because at the end she donated $100. So I was like, okay, do you just want me to put $100 in, or do you want me to put all the money that you put into the memberships as well, all into SBET? And of course, if you give someone the option on, hey, do you want me to do something smaller, or do you want me to go all in, baby? It was obviously all in. Kevin says, more SoFi, kind sir, so you could put me on trial. I can defend this position. I think you're right. I'll believe you. It'd be hard case for me to put SoFi on trial, but yes, I do actually think that it should climb in the portfolio. I mean, we are a SoFi community. Like, SoFi's got to be number one, but either SBET falls a lot and then it'll become a number one on its own. If SBET starts climbing, I mean, it's going to become an SBET fund really quick. But that's why I think that maybe we should design something to sell it off. Because, like, is that what's going to be, like, is that a 12-month play, or are people playing it right now for the next 3 months? Something like that. I don't know. But we follow all of them in the different breakdowns on the buys there. So, yeah. My court date is next year. I mean, a little bit. But maybe we'll do a 3-month 3-month update, 6 months, whatever. What does future investing mean exactly? I like to invest in the future. I'm buying for the future. I don't know. I didn't really think about it all that much. Just I always liked technology, artificial intelligence, crypto, like autonomous vehicles, robotics, everything that's futuristic for the most part. I'm pretty bullish on. If it's going to save costs, save time, save money, there's a good chance I get bullish behind it. Yeah. Let's see. More buzzwords, please. Yeah, those are buzzwords. Yeah. I don't know how you see it, but that's literally the things that I am excited for. I think those are probably the largest new sectors that are coming out that people are betting on the future for. I don't know what else you would describe that as. When would you exit Nvidia? What's the criteria? I'm honestly not sure. I've never really been good at selling positions too often, so I think something would materially need to change in either the, I don't know if there's going to be a new product that ends up coming out that threatens Nvidia's business. I don't know what would make me exit, but this day today, I'm not worried about it. It doesn't even seem that expensive in my opinion. So I'm a happy holder. I prefer to invest in the past. Some people do. To some degree, I'd call those people value investors. Like, that's betting on companies that they will be stronger for longer. I think, like, that's kind of even what investing in PayPal is. It's not that that's going to be the biggest company in the world. It's just that people think that right now the price is so cheap that people think it might be a dead company in a few years. And then other people are betting that no, it'll probably be around for many years to come and that they'll continue to grow. That's stronger for longer. Is 7 trillion really on the sidelines still waiting to come into markets? Yes, that is true. Money market funds, I think the last time I checked was somewhere around 7 trillion, I think. Let's see. Where is my link here? Yep, 7.07 trillion is the latest update. That's crazy. 4.16 trillion in institutional and 2.9 trillion in retail. Retail's in. Retail is in. Jensen could be at a Coldplay concert. Yeah, that might get me to sell. I mean, without Jensen, I I think very differently about Nvidia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are going to end it. There's 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Go to the bathroom, get a drink, kiss your wife goodnight, because you're going back to the FinTech Friday show, or you can just join us tomorrow, whatever. I mean, it's not that important. But we have another show tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the FinTech Friday show, where I'm joined by guests Tevis and Roy, potentially Steve, potentially data-driven investing, and we will talk about some other news that's happened this week, get some other opinions, maybe fight a little bit, maybe, who knows, maybe talk about earnings. It's a fun time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time, but bye for now.